Thank you.
Go
ahead, Betsy.
Trying to see if it will. Okay. All right. So good afternoon. My name is Betsy Helms. I'm one of the Mission and Records specialists. I will be presenting for the Mission and Records office. So Mission and Records, a general overview. There you go. Mission and Records staff members: Letitia Trejo, Veronica Leone, Mariana Cooper, Betsy Helms, Anastasia Simpson-Luck. Frontline: who are they and what do they do? Frontline personnel: Betsy, Letitia, and Mariana are the frontline staff. They assist students via email, in-person, phone, and through Creanium Cafe. We process applications, registration, and incoming transcripts. This includes clearing prerequisites, determining residency, providing support with MyMendo, and answering questions pertaining to the missions process. In addition, we image and link documents for permanent records, processing official transcripts, requests, and general education certification, while managing data for the district MIS reporting process. Mariana is the initial point of contact for international students, veterans, and their dependents, the Veteran Resource Center, and serves as a school certifying official. Back office: who are they and what do they do? Veronica and Anastasia are our back office personnel. Veronica is our evaluator. She evaluates transfer work requests, graduation requirements, academic review, and academic review petition. She also issues diplomas and certifications for all of our graduates. She also assists with processing applications, registration, and incoming transcripts, determining residency, providing support with MyMendo, including student password resets, and answering questions pertaining to the missions process. She is a primary responder to web access at mendocino.edu help desk inquiries. Anastasia is the director of admission and records. She is the college register and district FERPA officer, processes final grades and academic standings, calculates and submits the 320 appointment report, and manages the registration at mendocino.edu help desk. She assists with all other processes as needed. Are there any questions?
Betsy, what is Anastasia's function as the school certifying official? Is that what it is? I'm curious what that entails.
That has to do with the veterans to make sure that they qualify for part of the funds having to do with their time served in the military. They can receive educational benefits. But I'll let Anastasia add more to that if I've missed anything.
A school certifying official does essentially what Betsy said. So they're the designated person on campus that can work with students who are receiving the GI Bill or post 9/11 GI Bill. So we verify that the courses the student enrolls in are eligible for VA benefits, and we submit that information to the VA so the student can receive their GI Bill funds. We also are responsible for submitting our college catalog to the VA or to CSAVE, which is the state school approving agency, so that we gain approval. So our district, all of our programs within our district can be used by veterans and or dependents who are using educational benefits. And then the other thing that we get to do that's super fun is the VA regularly audits us. So they call it a compliance audit. So we get to be the representatives of the district when there is a compliance audit. And they come in to make sure that we're following all of the federal regulations for certifying for the GI Bill. And Mariana, there is a primary school certifying official, and then there can be secondary school certifying officials. So because there's an audit component to it, I am the designated primary school certifying official, but Mariana also works with students and submits certifications to the VA.
Cool, thank you. And welcome everyone. What a great crowd. Look at everybody.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question for admissions and records. Can you touch a little bit on in-state, out-of-state tuition and who's eligible?
So students who are considered California residents have lived here for 2 years, and they have to show intent of making California their home for educational purposes. So in other words, if they're here for a job and they're going to stay for 2 years or longer, or if they've just moved, that would make them a California resident once that 2 years are up. But in that time, the documentation that we're looking for them being here is, a permanent mailing address, utilities. If they rent, that there's a lease agreement, something to show that they are making California their permanent home. Driver's license too. If a student has gone to school in California, they moved away and then moved back, there is another form that they can submit to see if they qualify for California fees. Out of state is if a student has come from a different state like Montana or Idaho, but they have not been here for a year and a day, then they're considered out of state. Anastasia, is there anything I'm missing?
Well, I would just say residency is complex. There's, the general information that Betsy just provided is, it provides a general overview. I would correct that if the student is here only for educational purposes, it is unlikely that they would be considered a resident. So in the case of maybe some of our out-of-state athletes or others who come, say, just for the fine woodworking program, and then they're going to return to their home state, if their only purpose for residing in California is to attend school, it is unlikely that they would be considered a resident or established residency because they're here for a temporary purpose. Just as if we moved to Nevada or Montana to attend school, we would have to go through their residency process, which is generally pretty intensive. And there are many exceptions. Every year they add additional exceptions to residency. So that makes it a little bit challenging to keep up with all of the options that might be available. So we rely heavily on the application, the information the student provides us, and then there is a supplemental form the student can complete. One of those is the affidavit that Betsy was referring to for AB 540, which is for those students that have lived in California and attended school here and completed school here, and then may have lived out of state or may not have a status that allows them to establish residency. They can get an exception to the non-resident tuition while they're attending school, so it makes it a little more affordable for them. But there are many other options available to students to either be exempted from the non-resident tuition or to be considered a resident while they're reestablishing their residency.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you, Betsy. Okay, so we are going to be moving to centers now. And I believe we have somebody from our Fort Bragg, Lake, and Willett Center here.
So I will be presenting for the centers, and I do have a presentation. So I'll share my screen. That look correct? Okay, can you guys see it? Okay. All right. So we are the centers and who we are. We have 3 different centers. The first center is in Lakeport with Denise and Machiko. The second center in Willits. The operations supervisor there is Rose and center assistant Tammy. And then our last center is here in Fort Bragg. And the operations supervisor is Catherine, and then myself, Lisa, and our dean of centers, Amanda. Some of the services, student services that we offer at the center, we do admissions and records assistance with enrollment, registration, assistance with petitions and other forms, and we also process transcripts. We assist students with the Promise Grant applications. We also can assist students with other financial aid things. It just kind of depends what they're needing. Each center has a learning commons area, and in that area, students can use our computers and printers. We have quiet, private study spaces. Students can come in to get their student IDs taken and printed. We also have the food pantry and hygiene kits available for students. There is Wi-Fi access inside and outside. We do have a weekly courier service from the main campus to centers, and then from centers to centers if a student needs something from the library, or if EOPS is sending something over for a student, the student can come pick it up at the center closest to where they live. We have video conference rooms, vending machines to help with when they get hungry. And then we can also help students with My Mendo. Each center has a reference loan library where students can check out Chromebooks, hotspots, calculators, reference textbooks, which are to be used on site. So outside in the parking lots, we have electric vehicle charging ports. And then the centers also offer test proctoring for Mendocino college students and other college students. We have counseling services, so weekly general counseling appointments at centers. This, of course, was pre-COVID, hopefully post-COVID at some point. Monthly financial aid appointments, and then monthly CalWorks appointments as well would come to the centers. And a monthly, I forgot to include it, but the Disability Resource Center would also come monthly as well. At the Lake Center, there's additional services. They have a chemistry and piano lab, DRC testing, and a interdepartmental phone for student use. North County in Willits has a lending library for students to check out books for the semester, and they also have a phone for student use. And then here at the coast, we have a lending library for students to check out, and we have a pretty wide variety of books, science, math, ESL, health, English, and more. Something to note for summer and fall here at the centers. This coming summer, there will be on-ground classes at the coast and lake centers. It's mostly for high school students in the Upward Bound program. And then this coming fall, there will be on-ground classes offered at all 3 centers. And then another kind of big thing that we do at the centers is we do dual enrollment services. So Amanda and Catherine and Rose work with the local high schools to create and schedule the courses. And then the center assistants work with the high school counselors and students to assist with forms, registration, and creating sponsorship lists. So you'll see Lake Center works with Clear Lake, Upper Lake, and Kelseyville High. North County and Willits, there's Willits High School, Willits Charter School, San Herndon, I believe,
Laytonville, Round Valley, and Anderson Valley. And then in Fort Bragg, we have Fort Bragg High, Mendocino, and Point Arena. There's a little map there. Guys have any questions? Always stop sharing.
I
Do you
have
also?
a quick question, comment. Can you go back one slide?
Oh yeah, sorry.
That map was
Yes.
a big project I did for Judy back in the day. I don't know how current it is. If we need to update it, just let me know, because I know that we put in all of the satellite locations and that there might be additional or different locations now.
Okay.
Can you explain how the dual enrollment works as far as teachers and who pays the teachers?
Amanda, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I can chat a little bit further. So it really varies. So all of the instructors, whether they're a high school instructor or one of our instructors, have to meet our minimum qualifications in order to teach the course. They're interviewed by myself and full-time faculty member in the discipline. And then if they're a high school instructor, they sign an instructional service agreement with Mendocino College, in which we basically rent their instructor for that amount of time, and we compensate the high school with $500 a unit. So we pay for in that kind of format. That also is paying for their facilities, because most dual enrollment courses are taking place at the high school site during the bell schedule. We also have Mendocino College instructors who are paid by Mendocino College, who go onto the high school site and teach a course. So we have different options. We try to be very flexible in what we offer and the different pathways that are available to students to have the most options and flexibility for both career and technical education pathways as well as traditional transfer GE pathway.
Great, thank you very much.
Amanda, roughly how many high school students are participating?
So, this year is different than previous ones. We've been able to, expand. We had good trajectory into this year, but we're actually looking at expanding further into next academic year. One thing that is a real big goal for us, I think we're going to start off at Fort Bragg High School, is actually to have the ability for a student to earn their AA while they're in high school. At Fort Bragg High School, every single freshman takes a college and career success class. Every single enrolled student at Fort Bragg High School is a Mendocino College student. That same format is being stretched out to our other high schools. I know Mendocino High School has college career success classes, and many of our other high schools are seeing that success and adopting it. So we have a very high level of participation at our high schools.
That's awesome.
Any other questions?
I have one. What are some challenges or obstacles students experience at the centers?
That's a tough question. I think they probably experience the same obstacles that a lot of, students face. Internet issues. A lot of our students will come in because they don't have access to internet. A lot of them come in because they don't have access to a printer or a computer. I know that being able to have students check out Chromebooks has been, well, I've noticed that there's been more and more students wanting to check out Chromebooks, and that probably has to do with all of the classes being online, but we have had an increase in students needing those. Anybody, Tammy, anyone else can think of anything?
From a staff perspective, I mean, we have our Senate meetings and we do other stuff. And since they've been on Zoom, it's a little easier to participate, but I'm curious as we get back to on-ground operations, anyone at the centers can speak up, of course, if there's better ways for us to keep everybody in the loop and stay connected, because I know we tend to start feeling more isolated, ironically, when we're back together.
I hope we can continue some of those meetings in the same format, so that way more people can attend, you know, so especially us and the outlying center areas. And then also, you know, again, having that increased participation with the use of the Zoom. At the centers, I have a student in a study room right now, and really it's a quiet space and then the internet access. So kind of like same as what's going on at Fort Bragg. But as far as other obstacles and things, I think, yeah, they would probably be similar to those at the Ukiah campus. But for the most part, I think we offer quite a variety of services to students, and I think they're pretty grateful. How about Machiko? Anything different in Lake?
Oh,
Right?
yeah, that is different to start with, but same thing, but not about just the semester, you know, semesters with remote learning. It's just always that they want more, you know, courses offered at the center. You know, they have difficulty commuting from here to Ukiah. Some don't have the transportation. I took a couple of semester bus ride from Upper Lake to, you know, Ukiah campus, and it's great. But there's only like a 3-4, you know, schedules that I got around, and I always meet the students in there. They always, I got around, but you know, so that's something they always said, oh, I want to have more classes here. And another thing, you know, I used to be at the mess house. So I kind of miss kind of place that students can hang out a lot, but you know, I guess they can hang out outside, right? And come to that, this kind of meeting, I really appreciate. And then we had that with the counselors, and that was great too. I really appreciate those form of meeting. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Very nice to hear from you all on the various corners of our existence out here.
It was, and it's always nice to hear, you know, the center assistant always does, their work varies. So it's nice to hear what it is that they actually do. So that's wonderful. Well, if there isn't any other questions, I want to thank all of you for joining us. We will be having one more of these virtual meetings in 2 weeks. I'm still trying to hear back from the department that we're hoping will present, so I won't say who it is until I get confirmation about it. But we will be taking a break during the summer just because we do want to include everyone and invite everybody. And I know our faculty is not always here during the summer. So we will resume in the fall, but we will have one on May 18th. And I hope all of you can also join us for that one as well. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Great to see everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.